Hello and welcome to the Naked Truth About podcast. I am Danielle Hellebrand, executive coach, keynote speaker and columnist at Better Brains at Work.
And I'm Beverly Wilson Wunsch, a professor at the International University of Applied Sciences in the Department of Tourism, Hospitality and Events Management, and I am located at the Bad Honnef campus.
We often talk about the need for real and honest conversations about work and life in the communities whose members invite, encourage and inspire each other, because people need people. And today we have the opportunity to talk to another wonderful guest. We have Julian Staar with us today, who is joining from Austria.
Julian, welcome.
Hi, welcome you two. Welcome Danielle, welcome Beverly. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you and spend some time with you today. Julian has an interesting background. He studied biology at the University of Salzburg, followed by hotel management in Salzburg. He is a sommelier and I have to pronounce it in German, a Diplom-Käsekenner. And I know our producer Stefan has now a big smile on his face because his favorite food is a good glass of wine and cheese. And Julian is also an entrepreneur who started GastAmo Consulting in 2021. So we'll have a lot to talk about, and let's just dive in.
That's a pretty interesting history, I should say. But Julian, why did you switch from biology to hotel management? What triggered such a decision?
That's already a hard question for the beginning. I think I have to start really early with answering that question. First of all, I think a lot of you already heard that sentence of your parents that you have to do what you want to do, what you're passionate about. First of all, I thought it is biology, and I chose biology because of my grandpa suffered from Alzheimer. And I just wanted to really get to know all about that disease. I wanted to know it from the inside to the outside and the other way around, to also give my family really a chance to also understand the whole topic, because we were all really struggling with it. So I started with studying biology, and also my bachelor's thesis was about Alzheimer in the end. And during my studies, I started with working as a waiter. Like so many of us on this planet, just this regular student job, what we are all having.
Interesting.
And this job gave me so much, because I really had a feeling that I was doing something what I was meant to do, what I was called to do also by the universe. I had so much fun of serving people, working late hours and being in service for others, not in service for myself just to earn money, but really also to bring some smiles into the world, just to offer really great evenings and opportunities beyond expectations and experiences beyond expectations.
And so, hospitality biology, and your sense is that once you actually took the job as a wait staff, you then decided to get into hospitality because of the feeling that you actually were made to serve people. You're here, you were called to serve. And the job in hospitality is one in which you feel that you can actually serve people. Is that what it is? Did I get that right?
That's correct. I always had the problem with really feeling belonging to a group of people. I struggled really early, actually, because I was playing handball in my youth. A lot of us, you went to college, then you have some difficulties, some struggles. My parents were divorced, so that was already a huge situation also in my private life. And what happened then when I switched schools from primary school to secondary, to gymnasium in Germany, the problem came up that I got bullied at school. So I was going to school, I didn't want to go to school. The days at school were really, really hard. I really did not have the best friends at that moment. So that was also another difficulty. But where I was really struggling the most with was that feeling when it came up within my handball team. You know, you're doing a team sport, you think you belong to something, you think you are one group of people who are thriving towards the same goal, who are willing to achieve the same goal. And then in the end, you are, just thrown away somehow. And in my case, it was not only somehow, but what a few people thought at that moment was, it would be nice to just open one of those big paper containers, throw Julian inside, and close the lid.
Oh dear.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mean. That's mean.
And that was really the moment what I at that moment not consciously thought about. Of course not. I was young. I was, I think, 13, 14 years. So you're not consciously thinking about what this situation is doing with you. But what happened is that it was unconsciously controlling me until, let's say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was really starting to consciously think about what is controlling my life. And what happened then is when I had these Corona times, like all of us, I had a lot of time to really think about what was going on in my life. I had a lot of talks with you two. I had a lot of talks with other people who are really close to me. And what I found out is that this situation of not belonging to someone, not belonging to a group, and also not feeling home is really what was triggering me of doing the complete opposite, of creating a life where I'm feeling home to in a certain group, where I'm feeling home within my job, and where I also want to create that same feeling for other people. And that's what hospitality is all about. Hospitality is creating homes for everyone, doesn't matter where they are. And that's why I'm so driven in that.
Interesting. So would you say that professionally you have found a home in hospitality?
Professionally and definitely also spiritually, I would say.
Wow, Julian, thank you for sharing this story with us. That sounds really like a big truth you bring to our table today. Did a lot of people know that story of yours that you're now sharing with us? When were you able to speak about it?
The first time actually I was able to speak about it was last year, so 2021, and we gave a training for a huge company at Brussels airport. And one of the trainers asked me in the morning, "Hey, we still need a story. Do you have something what you want to share, what you want to let go also, what you want to let free into the universe?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I think I do have something." And I was standing in front of, I think it was between 50 and 100 people. And I was standing on that stage, sharing that story, of course, with tears in my eyes. What's not happening right now anymore, because now I'm more settled with that story. So that was the first situation. And the second situation when I was talking about it was this year on my 30th birthday, when I was just moving into a new decade. And I was like, okay, no, I have to share it now. My best friends were sitting on the table. My family was sitting on the table. My girlfriend, Annelies, who also just got to know about that story on that day, actually, or the day before, because I wanted to share it with her in a private moment. But those are the people who know about it. And now all of you who are listening to this podcast.
And that is a beautiful thing that you share that with us, Julian, because there are so much mental health problems amongst also the younger generations. I mean, people in general around the world, if we look at the numbers of the World Health Organization. So I think it's important that we, at some point, we let down our social mask and talk about the truth, the naked truth. Because if people hear your story, and hear the courage of with you kind of survived that situation or the way you are dealing with it now, I think it's very encouraging for people, especially for younger people who are hearing this story.
I hope that it's really encouraging, because that's also one of my goals when I'm giving trainings right now. It's to really let people see that life can be hard at certain moments, but there's always a way out, a way how to deal with it in the end. And that it's always good also to connect with other people, share what you went through, because other people went through maybe the same things. Maybe you think your situation was the worst, but other people went through the same things, and you can just learn from them. You don't have to do this alone. You have to do it yourself, but you don't have to do it alone.
Interesting, Julian. I think that I would say that I know you very well, but there's still one thing that I would like to know, and perhaps in a nutshell, you can capture this for me. If I were to ask you the question, what drives you? How would you respond to that?
What drives me, that's a really hard question. What drives me actually is that I'm waking up every morning and that I can share my skills and values with each and everyone around me. That
Mm,
I can just show my passion on the job. I'm now sitting here in a beautiful hotel in Austria where I'm busy with a project at the moment, and I can just stand here on the floor and share my passion for hospitality. That's that's what drives me. That's what gives me energy.
wonderful.
And Julian, you spoke about purpose. Don't you think we should teach more kind of life skills at schools? Like, what is your passion? What's your purpose? What drives you? You know, in schools, it's all about learning about a lot of know how, but we don't teach about our know why. Don't you think we should teach that more at schools?
I think we definitely should teach that more at schools. It's a pity that students, even in an age of, yeah, between 20, 25, never heard about what is your why, what drives you, what is your purpose, what do you want in life, what is your plan for the next 5 to 10 years. When I'm speaking, yeah, to a lot of people I get to know, to a lot of youngsters, they never thought about what actually happened in their life, what they want to do in the next years. Never ever. For them, it's so new. But if we would start to really talk about these things in early ages, let's say from 14, 15 years on, then I think that we can, yeah, solve a lot of challenges what we have at the moment. There's huge gaps in the market when it comes to finding employees. And a lot of the young people, they don't know what they want to do actually because they never thought about it. So maybe they're starting with a new study. There is in only in Germany about more than, I don't know, 3,000 different
Yeah.
studies what you can choose from.
Mm,
Yeah, how can you know what you really want? If we started with, yeah, asking that question already in early ages, then youngsters can start thinking about this. They can really think about, okay, but in my, let's say in my circle of friends, what is what I'm always doing? What is what my friends are asking me for to do? Am I good at planning our events? Am I good at planning trips? Am I good in just yeah, I don't know, setting up a barbecue? Am I good in doing some work with wood, some work with steel? Am I good in some creative stuff? Do I like to paint? Do I like to color? If nobody is really consciously thinking about it, so in the end, they maybe find out about their true passion when they're 25, 26. Yeah, and then they didn't waste their time in the years before because they learned something and they should be thankful for it, but they could be further on their way already. But we're just letting the people sit and learn about, yeah, now I have to talk a little bit, yeah, not negative about the topic, but we ask them to learn about biology, we ask them to learn about mathematics, about physics. But is that really what they need in their life? Is that what they want? we we don't know, but we assume that they need that.
And Beverly, is that also the thing you are doing with your students? I mean, I have the feeling you also are on that path and giving your students some, yeah, some life skills, some other things than just the regular program.
Indeed, so. As a matter of fact, Julian, just up your street, we have just literally revamped the curriculum and started a new program where we introduced a class, a specific class called professional development. And in this class, we sit down with people and talk with them about the issues of considering their future and the things that actually makes them who they are, other than the curriculum stuff that they have to learn for practice anyway. But besides that, is that life is more than simply, as you say, the statistics or the math, and also to the research and writing and all the academic things, but that indeed we are a complete being only when we begin to think about the whys and the hows and how to say the
Hmm.
least. As a matter of fact, we even went one step further and actually started a mentorship program. And this mentorship program was also to help students to link students with other past students who are in the industry, just to give them some sense of what's really out there in the world of work, because we know it's a tough world out there for students, for young people to be going out in the world of work. It's a pretty trying practice, I would say, and sometimes it makes it really very difficult, and it is sometimes very frightening for young people to go out there in the world of work. So Julian, I have to say I appreciate you all the time. When I speak to you, I love your heart and your heart for young people and wanting to teach people about the real important things, which is finding out your passion. What is your passion and what essentially drives you?
Yeah, it is. And, we are all part of a wonderful community which is called Game Changers. And what does community thinking mean to you? What is your goal by being part of that community, Julian? What does it mean to you?
I mean, after all what I have been through with having a feeling of not belonging to something, this community really give me this sense of belonging. We are all, with all our skills, all our expertise, with all our different ages, it feels like that we are all on one level. Nobody of us is higher in position or lower in position. We are just working together. We are working on different projects together where everybody brings a different expertise in. But still, we are doing this together as a team. We're doing this together as a community. And that's also what I feel for myself, that I learned so much from you two beautiful ladies. I learned so much of all the other people within the community. Doesn't matter which age, really. If it's someone, yeah, we all know Rudy from Spain. He's in the, I don't know, late or early 60s.
Be
But
careful now.
yeah.
Rudy is
but
wonderful. Yes, he's a great mentor.
He's
but
listening.
I I'm learning so much from him, and I think he learns also so much from me. And that's, for me, is so beautiful to see that even the seasoned within our community are listening to the youngsters, and the other way around. We are just learning from each other, and that's a beautiful thing about a community, giving the feeling of belonging to something, and then even of that we are all equal.
I think that essentially answers the next point I actually wanted to raise, Julian, because I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your wish for working intergenerationally. As you know, as you talked about learning so much from Daniela and I don't know, Daniela, I don't want to talk about your age here. Well, a woman never really says her
Seasoned.
age, as you know, so we call ourselves seasoned women. But Julian, my suspicion is that what you're essentially saying is that at least there's a bit of a generation gap here. And we see that happening in today's world. Last week, it was announced that right here in Germany, there are thousands and thousands of job vacancies that is going to be available by 2026, only because the baby boomers are already sort of exiting the labor market. And I believe that Germany is not alone. So there's a huge gap in the time that we have, let us say the baby boomers have in the labor market at the moment, and to be able to usher the other generations in the labor market, what would you say is your biggest wish? What can generations teach each other? What can we learn from each other? How should we work together? And you just think about it a little bit for us. I think when I think about it, in all honesty, I would say for myself personally, I wish that I honestly knew better how to sort of encourage the younger generation to become lifelong learners, because in today's world I don't think that we can stop learning. Being able to impart that would be something very important for me, to keep learning. But from generations to generation, when I enter the labor market, I wish that people were very keen on taking me under their wings and sort of showing me how to do things. Is there any special wish you have for What do you think the baby boomers can actually teach Generation Y, generations, your generation? What do you think that the people leaving the labor market now can teach you?
I I don't know exactly what we can learn from each other, but what I would be wishing for is that people of the different generations start to listen more to each other. That they
Mhm.
really want to hear what the older generation, or on the other hand, the younger generation, wants to say. Because sometimes I have the feeling, just because now I'm 30, there is still way younger people than me who we should also listen to. So can also already ask myself, am I really listening properly to the younger generation? And I have to answer honestly with no, I'm not. But what is the fact, I think, what society tells us is, okay, you're older, you're more experienced, so everybody younger than you should listen to what you say.
That's it.
But it's not the fact.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
see it also when you're looking at companies. Yeah, no younger people are actually somehow allowed to get into a management position if there is older people on the floor. Because then most of the times it will come up, okay, but why should I listen to that youngster? But you can learn so much from that person. Everybody of us is making different experiences. Everybody of us has a different perception on life. We should just actually, we're supposed to listen to each and everyone around us, doesn't matter what age, because we can always learn from each other. And it's not about because I'm 30 and somebody else is 60 is that the older person cannot learn something from me. They
That's
can
right.
learn a lot, as well as I can learn a lot from them.
Daniela talks a lot about reverse mentoring. That is one of your pet word, isn't it? It's something that you.
Yeah, this reverse mentoring, younger people learning from seasoned people and vice versa. I think that is so important. And in companies, we see a lot of a little bit seasoned people who act like they know it all. And I believe that part of being human is questioning, being curious, trying to find answers together and do it together. So I'm such a believer in the fact that if we do more on the subject of reverse mentoring in companies, all the generations learning from the mindset and also the skills of younger generations, and younger generations also learning from the experience and life experience from the older generations. If you do that, we can learn so much from each other. And even in our homes, I also had to learn to listen to my 18-year-old son and not acting like the know it all mum, as long as you have your feet under my table, but learning from him and taking all the experiences he brings home, also the technical experiences. And I think that is so important. And that also means for the little bit seasoned generations to putting their ego a little bit aside and opening up to the younger generations. I think it would be so helpful if we would
What
open
what
up and learn for each other. Yes, please, Julian.
what just comes to my mind is a topic where I'm actually talking a lot about with my girlfriend, is that our generation is thinking so fast. We are switching so fast between topics. We think like, okay, there's jobs all over the world. We can just switch from one job to the other within a day if we want. We can switch from one topic that we're learning to the other within seconds. Your generation couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need in our generation, and also the people younger than me, is sometimes really the moments of laying back and just thinking about what we are actually doing, and not switching immediately to something else just because we might have difficulties. The older generation just learn to stick to something and also live it through, even if it becomes difficult. Life is no Ponyhof, as we say in Germany. Yeah? It's life can be difficult, but stick to it, go through it, and you will learn so much more from it instead of switching immediately to something else. Take your time, think about the things, and just go on instead of switching immediately to another job or to another topic of learning.
Yeah, that's true. And last a few weeks ago, I read a very interesting study of the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland, they looked at mixed aged teams and to just same age teams. And the results of that study were that mixed age teams had such good results with complex tasks. Our brains are wired in another way because we did not have all these devices. We are the last generations who come from a totally analog world. Your generation, you grow up with this digital world. Mixing all that knowledge from our generation with your generation, we have proved that that brings the best results. We know it. But what can we do to do it? There's also that gap between the knowing and the doing. There is so much know how in the world. There's so much knowledge, but where's the wisdom? Do we lack wisdom? Beverly,
I th-
colleague.
may I?
Oh, of course, Julian. Sorry,
Yeah,
of course.
because you were asking how do we do it. I think the
Mm.
real the simplest answer is in the end of living and sharing hospitality. Because if we are showing each and every one that they are home, doesn't matter where they are, then they can live their true self. They will feel at home and they will show themselves just how they are, and everybody will accept it because it's okay how you are, it's okay how you behave, and we can learn from each other. We should just feel at home, feel safe, and that's how we can show it in teams, how we can show it at university, in daily life. That would be my simple answer.
And those words you used, I mean, safety, connection, relationships, emotional bravery, these will be our soil to build on. Don't you think, Beverly?
It is in fact true. In fact, Julian, I wanted to ask the question of hospitality mindset. This is something that we have been talking about all throughout this podcast. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons we, in fact, started this podcast was because we wanted to explore those ideas. If you think about it, have you ever thought about a hospitality mindset and what would that mean for you?
I'm starting with an example. I think that's the best way how to describe it. And that's an example of what hospitality mindset is not. I moved to Belgium last year, and at that moment, my Vlaams, my Dutch was not as good as right now. And I had a problem with my car. And I had to find a garage to let it fixed. I went to that garage, I went inside, and in Dutch, I was asking the guy if I can please tell my problem, but I have to say it in English because at that moment my Dutch was already done. And
Yeah.
that guy was, instead of saying, "Hey, I'm having a little difficulty with my English," he was just standing up, turning around, and going away. So I immediately felt not welcomed, not at home. And actually, that guy could have done some money with me, yeah? So yeah, I wanted to give my car to them. Without my car, I'm lost. So I want to spend money there. But the only thing what he was thinking about is, okay, I'm not feeling comfortable, I'm leaving. Luckily, he had this beautiful lady sitting next to him. She was immediately standing up, saying, "Okay, I just saw what happened. Go sit down, have a coffee, and I will check to get a colleague who can, in a proper English, talk with you and check what we can do for your car." So we had, in the same moment, I had that feeling of not feeling at home, and just seconds later of really getting a warm welcome of someone. With just showing that feeling of hospitality, that sense of hospitality, that lady fixed everything. And now imagine if everybody is having that mindset of just helping each and everyone around them, of showing that they are heard, that someone is listening to them, that we feel somehow what everyone around us needs. Yeah, what a beautiful world that would be.
It is so true that indeed understanding each other's needs and sharing each other's feelings and also empathizing, putting ourselves in other people's place makes such a difference. the please and thank you and understanding each other. This is only what is actually going to make our world a better place. As we see generations come together, the world is changing so very fast. Sometimes there is not a news item without something new happening, something to think about. You get on the bus, you get on the train, remembering that it is still okay to get up and give your seat to someone that actually is needy. It is still okay that if you see someone leaving their bags on the train, forgetting it, it is still okay to stop the person and say, listen, you're forgetting your bag. It is still okay to say good morning. It is still okay to open the door for someone, isn't it? It is still okay to be kind, because it is only being kind that we're going to get through this world, because it is going to get tougher in the years ahead. And that is perhaps what we need to be talking about more and more, isn't it?
Mm, mm. And it is, I think relational skills are the most important skill. And Julian, you are one of the people who breathe hospitality, whose energy spreads hospitality. I mean, it's impossible to not feeling at home when we're with you. So that's
Thank you for
why.
that compliment. Sadly, nobody can see my smile right now, but it's.
I know. I know.
So,
Oh, okay, Julian. I think that perhaps we have a lot to talk to you about, but there is another question that I actually would like to ask you. What would you say is your greatest gift in life? Would you say that you're a talented person? Were you born talented, or what you have achieved? And I think you have achieved so much in your very young life already. But would you say you were born with these talents, or a gift per se, or did you really have to work very hard to get to where you are now?
I think it's a mix. I do not think that everybody of us is born with a talent, with a specific one. And I don't think that everybody of us has to work really hard. You just have to work with passion. That's
Mhm.
a lot in the end. Then hard working doesn't feel like hard working if it's your passion, what you're doing. When I'm looking back to the moment when I was still on a fixed contract in the same hotel where I'm right now, then I was working hours over hours over hours, but I felt like never getting tired. There was those weeks before Christmas, and that's always in the hospitality industry, that you are working on those days from, let's say, 7 in the morning until 10, 11 at night, and on the next day you're standing there again. But I was just doing it and I was still smiling, and my the owner of the hotel was asking me, okay, what are you doing actually here? Don't you have a day off? And I was like, oh yeah, my assistant is sick, my F&B manager is sick, I'm the only one here, so what should I do? Oh yeah, but you should tell me. And I said, why should I? I'm not losing energy. I'm feeling perfect. I'm doing this with so much love, with so much passion. Other people would say this is a hard job, but it didn't feel like it. So to answer the question already, it's not about hard working. And that situation was definitely not about talent also. It was just about doing what you love and also sharing what you love with the world. And that's why, to come back to some questions before, it's so important that we also start thinking about these things, what you love, what drives you, what is your passion, already in an early life. And then hard working will never feel like hard working.
and I think, Julian, also working with people who nourish you, who give you energy. For me, that's one of the most important things, besides doing what I love to do and what I'm good at. For me, that's so important. Being with people I trust, then I go the extra mile, feeling safe, feeling the positive energy of other people. So that's a big, big driver for me. And that is also, I think, what we find in our community, that we trust each other. You can rely on each other. If the shit hits the fan, we can call each other. So I think that's a wonderful gift.
And in the end, we're not working with colleagues, we're working with friends. And that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest factors in the end. I can't
Mm,
wait to go on trainings with both of you.
mm,
It will be, yeah, giving so much of energy to all of us. And yeah, that's really what our community also is all about.
Julian, we want to thank you so much for being on our podcast. It was a pleasure. So thank you so much for being here. We invite you all listeners to join us as we explore our own and other people's life and work stories. We will talk to a variety of people with all kinds of backgrounds, and we have lots and lots of knowledge to share. So let us learn out loud together and explore how we can better interact with each other in our private lives and in our work life. So let's keep nurturing our souls. Thank you all for listening. Have a good week, you all, and be kind. The world needs a hospitality mindset.
And that is the naked truth. Thank you.